Hi guys, welcome back to Doing Outdoors. I'm Benj. I know it's been a while, but we are now 23rd of July. Summer's finally arrived. A couple of days ago it got warm. We've still got puddles on our track that leads up to the farm. You can see behind me it's absolutely been torn up over the winter. We've still got quite a lot of standing water where it goes through the wood, especially. Obviously it's in the shade most of the day, but today we've got a job in hand, and that is we've got to take 2 of our piglets off to the abattoir. Now these are the offspring, the first offspring from Bruce the boar. He went in with Bertha and Bacon last September, August, late August I think it was. And here they are, they're having a camp out. Bruce ain't so little anymore. Bertha's still here, and the guy just behind Bertha, that's Barrel. He's about 7.5 months old boar. Bertha actually had a litter of 10 piglets back in early December, the first week. We've only kept 1 back, and that's to do a direct side-by-side comparison with Bacon's piglets, just to see who gives the biggest carcass weights. Because when I took piglets off to slaughter last year, Bacon's piglets were considerably heavier than Bertha's. They came in, well, the heaviest one came in at 65 kilos dead weight, where Bertha's biggest was about 52, so quite a considerable distance. But that was with the old boar covering them. This being with Bruce, the results might be slightly different. But Bertha had 10 piglets. We took 9 to market, and I was quite lucky in my time in taking those piglets to market. It wasn't by design, purely by accident. They went in, I think it was the first week of February. And whilst the piglets that I'd got in were the smallest by far, they fetched the best price. Now after the sale went through, I heard people talking around me, and they were shocked at how much the smallest piglets fetched, when you'd got piglets twice if not 3 times the size fetching almost half the money. And it was all because it was close to Chinese New Year, and the piglets that I'd taken were of the correct size for suckling pig, obviously going to the Chinese market. So although they didn't live a long life, I got the maximum amount of money that I could have got for those piglets. But for instance, there was a pen of Gloucester Old Spot pigs in there. They were good looking pigs, and they fetched between 18 and 22 pounds a head, and then mine fetched 35 pounds. Quite a good bit of difference there. So that's Bertha and Barrel. You can see he's not a bad size. I'm hoping he's going to make somewhere near 60-65 kilos. But we've still got Bacon out in the field, and she's got 3 of her piglets with her. Well, there they are, look, they were camping out also. So we've got Bacon here, and she's got 3 piglets with her. They're 3 boars. Now they're the only 3 that she managed to keep. She actually had a litter of 13, but due to terrible weather conditions, my bad husbandry, there was a load of errors. She lost 10 out of the 13 just within the first couple of days, because it was so wet, really wet. I couldn't get a tractor and trailer in here to separate the pigs. Bertha was in here still with her litter, and they were almost 3 weeks old by the time Bacon decided to give birth. I had full intentions of getting them separated, and unfortunately when Bacon was laying down to feed her litter, Bertha's litter heard the dinner bell ringing, and they would suckle, and that was excluding all of Bacon's piglets. Now that only happened for the first night, because by the morning when I first saw it happen, I carried all of Bertha's piglets out, loaded them into buckets, carried them out, luckily managed to push Bertha out of the pen. Because they're so well trained to the electric fence, you can see a distinct line between the brown and the green. Even without the electric fence there, they're very reluctant to cross that line. They know what happens when they get close to it, they get a zap. So even with the electric fence down, it was tricky to get her out. But anyway, we got left with 3. And they're not bad pigs. These are 3 weeks younger than Barrel. Again, Bruce sired this litter. And we're going to take the biggest one out of these 3 and compare him with Barrel. They're going to abattoir. And Bacon keeps trying to use me as a scratching post, standing on my feet. What's up, little piggy? So we need to get the trailer in here, load one of these piglets on, take it round to the other side, get Barrel loaded in, and then we're all set for a trip to the abattoir. But before we get that far, we've got to dismantle the cattle run that we had set up. But this is the run that we erected for the TB test. But yeah, we've got the cattle crush, a little race, another holding pen just here, and it's just something that I mackled together just to get the TB test done. But this is in the way of the gateway going onto the field. So I've got to get part of this dismantled so we can get these piglets out. Just stop on that one. Seeing that one. Well, that's the majority of this cattle race sorted out, and as you can see by the mess of the place, I am still feeding hay to the cattle, and I've been feeding them up here because we now have these feeding barriers. Until I had these, I was feeding them through the side of the fence, and they've absolutely annihilated the fencing. So because I am still feeding hay, I'm going to rearrange this setup without the crush. We don't need the crush now, just so the cows have still got somewhere good to come and eat. We've got their water trough down here as well. It's just easier for me to get water to this position than anywhere else, so it just makes sense. But the cows are spending less and less time down here. As you can see, the field looks fairly green from this angle, and you know what? We've got the most amount of grass right now than we have done all year. They're eating far less hay than they were just a couple of weeks ago. This warm weather has just certainly brought the grass on loads. I still have far too many cattle on this piece of ground. I'm working on that to get the numbers down. And in fact, we did home kill one of the cattle that we had, Bonzo. He took a bullet about 4 weeks ago. I didn't record any of it. I just wanted to get it done, get him in the freezer. He was quite a small bull calf. He was about 18 months old, really scrawny. When we took him on, he came without a mother. She died when he was young, so he had a rubbish start to life and just really didn't make anything of himself. So he was a prime candidate for being took out of the herd. We are running with 11 at the minute, but at least we've now got a way through. We can bring the trailer down through here now, get round, and we'll try and winkle out the big lad out of the trio of piglets that Bacon's got in the field. Right, so we've got one piglet in the trailer and we've just spent the last half an hour reconfiguring this cattle run just so they can keep coming in here, get to their water, and I'll put some more hay out for them just around here on the side of this feed barrier. But now we've got to go and try and get poor old Barrel into the trailer. He's not too distressed, but it's the first time he's been away from his mum and his brothers. Let's pull the trailer around, get Barrel on board. Right, that's it. They're both loaded onto the trailer, the two boars that are going to slaughter. We managed to get Bertha and Bruce back out of the trailer with a shake of a bucket. But already there's quite a bit of difference in size between Barrel and his half brother. Even though his half brother is 3 weeks younger than him, he does look considerably bigger. Right, we'll get the trailer off the tractor, onto the van and make our way to the abattoir. Well, that's it. We've just come back from dropping the pigs off at the abattoir. No footage down there. It's a brand new abattoir. I've never used them before. It's a lot more local than the one I have been using. So I didn't want to frighten them off straight away. Flashing the camera around, people can be quite sensitive about that kind of situation. So we are now just running the errands, loading out some hay for the cattle, and I can see them just in the distance. They'll hopefully be making their way over here in a minute. Get a drink because I've got a barrel of water to unload out the back of the van also. But you can just see that they're quite enjoying themselves eating whatever grass there is out there. It's not long. It looks quite lush and green from this angle, but when you get close it's really quite thin on the ground. But yeah, we've got 2 pigs gone to the slaughter. I'll be picking them up on Thursday morning, and I'll be butchering them over the weekend. Turning the middles into bacon, the fronts into sausage, and the back legs into ham. We've still got joints of pork left over from pigs we had slaughtered last year, so we don't need any more joints. Well, I've just finished putting some hay out, and the cows have decided it's time to come over and have a nibble. We have still got the 2 sheep also. They're in desperate need of a haircut. We've ordered some clippers so we can shear them ourselves. It's hard work trying to get someone over here just for 2 sheep. It becomes quite an expensive practice then. But here they come. Here's the herd. And they're doing fairly well. They're a little bit wary because their enclosure has changed a little bit. But I'm pleased that they are eating a bit of the grass off the field. It's saving a little bit in hay at least. But going back to the pigs and what breeding stock I'm going to keep moving forward, because the last piglets that I sent off, Bacons, were considerably heavier than Bertha's, at the same age with the same amount of food going into them, I really do think it's time to let Bertha go. She should be in pig at the minute. She's been in with Bruce now for 2 months. He's definitely served her, so she should be in pig. My plan is, now this is all depending on how these carcass weights come back from the 2 pigs I've taken to abattoir this morning, but if my predictions are correct and Bacons are going to be far heavier, then once she has given birth to her litter, she'll be going to market with her brand new litter, and now that's the way I can get the maximum amount of money out of that pig possible. I could send her to slaughter, but you'd be making nearly all the meat into sausages, so I'm told. I've never killed an older pig, but I feel it's just not worth growing any more of her piglets on. So instead I'm going to opt for another breeding sow, and I might go along the lines of a pedigree landrace, something pedigree to go with Bruce. He's a pedigree old spot. I might even get another pedigree old spot, but from the research I've been doing, if you cross two pedigrees, two different pedigree pigs, you'll get quite a fast growing pig. All depends on the cross, mind. Whereas if I do pure pedigree old spots, they can grow quite fat quite quickly. But I like the old spots. It's a traditional looking pig, and it's one I always think of when I think of pigs. So I might get one of those. Who knows? Bacon, on the other hand, she can stay for a little longer. She's producing the better sized piglets that grow quite fat in a short space of time. Well, at least you all know I'm still alive. I'm still doing it up here, and I'm going to try really hard going forward to put some regular videos back out. Try and get back in the saddle. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. What's up, Brute Man? What's up the moose?